Okay, I want to welcome everyone to today's monthly meeting of the Rockland Board of Sewer Commissioners. The listing of matters, those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permissible by law. This meeting is being taped for playback later on WRPS or on YouTube. With that, I'll take a motion to open the minutes.
Motion.
Open the meeting, please.
Motion.
I have a motion, right, second?
Second.
Mr. DeRoss?
Yes.
Ms. Valley?
Yes.
And Mr. Ashenty, yes, it's unanimous. Do we have minutes from the previous meetings?
No.
Okay. Before we go to the administrative update, I'd like to introduce Bobby Joe Extra. Here's where the dance comes in.
Okay, perfect.
No, Bobby, I want to thank you for accepting the job. You know,
Okay.
I think you're going to be a huge help to the department and to Robin.
Perfect, look forward to it. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
With that, do you want to jump to abatements first, or do you want to do your update?
I do have an abatement
Okay.
request. Well, I thought I did, oh, here it is. So this woman, Laura McCarthy, she's 80.
Shut.
What was that?
Motion.
She's 80 years old and she got a large water bill and she didn't understand why. Thank you. She didn't understand why, and she was working with the water department. Come to find out, her toilet had been running and she fixed it herself, but she didn't fix it properly, so then her son came and fixed it. She didn't have a invoice from a service person fixing it because her son fixed it. And it really didn't even come to light until I roped in the water department on the phone at the same time, and then they realized about the fix for the toilet. Meanwhile, she had a crazy bill, $300 when she's usually at the minimum. So she's requesting an abatement. I've worked out the numbers of $207.82, and that would bring her down to where she normally is.
But she did the repairs? Is she on a drain lays license?
It was a toilet repair,
Oh,
so
okay,
she's.
doesn't count, okay.
Okay. No,
I'll make a
license
motion,
required.
we accept the abatement of $207.82. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Ms. Valley?
Yes.
And Ms. Ashenty, yes, that's unanimous.
It takes me a minute because I'm doing that and, all right.
Hi.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Well,
So
let me
I
get
have-
Mr. Crowley, you in a hurry? Do you have another appointment?
No, you can.
Okay.
Soon you get to me, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you want to skip me then and come back, or?
Yeah, why don't we get Mr. Crowley, let him get going too, because he's pretty basic.
Thank you.
New connection request by 767 Union Street, Mr. Paul Crowley. Mr. Crowley, would you explain to us what you would like to do? And
Yeah, we just tore the house down. It was an old house. There was no way to rehab it. And we plan on building a 3-bedroom, bath and a half new home, about roughly 1,700 square feet. I got the site plan here, and I got the sewer ties. The sewer was never, they didn't have any money really, so it's bigger, but I have the sewer ties. I came in and got those months ago. And the water department, I talked to them this morning. I talked to them before, but I would get down there and give them a check for the water. And they'll be all set.
can I see a copy of this?
That's the site plan. The sewer department was down there and marked the street where the sewer is.
Yep.
And the water department shut off the water months ago and took the meter.
Did you pay the betterment fee? It was paid for that.
The betterment fee was paid.
Yeah, I thought I looked that up, you okay?
Yeah.
When you tore the house down, did you have the line capped?
The stub is probably, I'm gonna say, about 3 feet off the sidewalk, so we didn't even go near it.
Okay.
It was never tied into that?
Was it tied into the stuff?
No.
Okay.
Was it?
What's that?
Was it tied into sewer that was?
No,
Okay.
no, it's still on the old septic.
Okay, the only thing I would add to this that we will want to see a clean out per the Rockland ordinance, sewer ordinance.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Sherry, do you have any questions?
That's 2 cleanouts, one towards the street, one towards the
Yes.
property, right?
One towards the street, one inside, or
One towards the street and one towards the house, they're both outside.
are they both outside?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I borrow a pencil, please? Thank you.
Surprised she let you use it.
Not that far.
It's only the pens, it's only the pens.
Dan, you wanna take a look at this?
Did you do any fees yet for that property? or-
No, I have not.
Of course.
We'll get back to you with the fee schedule.
Okay. I can pay that right away, so,
We'll probably we'll get to that rather quickly for that.
okay, thank you. So with $10?
Oh, yes.
So 330 gallons?
3:30.
I hear someone's phone buzzing. You hear it? Or maybe I'm hearing things.
First thing to go.
Okay, since it's below the moratorium, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the connection at 767 Union Street. And 3-bedroom, not to exceed 3-bedroom.
Correct.
That's
Can I ask
second.
a question?
Sure.
Since I live across the street, I live across the
Oh.
street from this. I always heard there's a ledge there and it never passed, coming up Union Street, because we wanted to tie in a long time ago and we were told there was ledge and that it stopped, I think before the clocks. We had to tie in on Salem, so I'm not even sure if there's a line there,
Yeah, oh yeah, there's a line.
There's a line?
Yeah, I have the ties, yeah.
because that's weird, because we were always told, no,
There's no ledge over there. The solid hole's open right now. There's no.
Okay, it's gonna have to be inspected anyway once.
Oh, correct.
Once we see it.
Yeah. And there's a minimum on the soil there, correct. There's no ledge there.
All right, well, we'll see when we combine. All right, I said, I have a motion on the table to approve the 3-bedroom.
Second.
All in favor, Mr. DeRoss?
Yes.
Ms. Valley?
yes.
And Ms. Gashion's a yes. Okay, that will be with conditions of inspection, the clean out,
Correct.
and everything to the Rockland sewer and that's part of the
Yeah.
sewer. And it has to be done by a licensed drain layer, brought on our approved list. That list is on the website.
What's that?
The list of our approved drain layers is up on the website.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Did I give you a copy already?
And
No, I don't have a copy of that.
Okay.
this approval would be void if there's no sewer.
Right, but it's
We
gonna have to
already
be.
didn't we already pull the map and he paid for the stub?
There's
Already there.
So it's-
there's the ties that I was given.
No, there's the,
Oh.
and again, it's gonna be inspected when we do that. This is yours.
Yeah, no, that was with those letters, that's what we're gonna talk about.
Oh, okay.
I'm just curious, what happened to the elderly guy that used to live there?
He's actually living behind the old Burger King in those apartments.
The apartments where?
Behind Burger King.
Oh, behind, oh,
Yeah, he moved over there.
he moved, because he moved recently, because we used to see him walking
It's
by
probably
all the
like
time.
I think about actually a month and a half. I don't know how he was living there
Yeah.
months ago. They had no water.
Yeah.
The water was shut off a long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah. It was pretty bad.
Okay, with that, I'd like to go with the administrative update.
Okay.
Why I that before, I don't know if I'm gonna be stepping on your toes. I need a box of paper, no. I had a list to, I don't know if you're gonna talk about the A.W. Perry reminder about the new connection. Do you have that?
I do.
Okay. And I wanna make sure I mention 978, 986.
Yep, I get that too.
Okay.
All right, so Glenn Miller is the gentleman up on Commerce Way that wanted to tie into the A.W. Perry private line. And I looked at the fees this morning with Chuck because Glenn called, first of all, he wanted to tie into the line between the manholes. And I spoke to Chuck about it, and we haven't allowed for that before, and even though it's private sewerage, we would prefer for him to tie into the manhole. So I gave him that this morning and told him about the 2 cleanouts and he figured we were gonna make him tie into the manhole, so he was fine with that. So I looked at the fees, the development fees, because it's not a unit, were gonna be waived. This is obviously subject to you guys voting on it. The sewer tie-in permit fee is $150. Repair and maintenance, we charged the previous gentleman that had that half bath that he put into his warehouse, 75 gallons per day, which I think is the going rate for a half bath.
That is Title V.
On the Title V, thank you. So that 75 gallons a day at $20 is $1,500 for the repair and maintenance fee. Engineering, I&I removal fee, he's not subject to that because it's less than the 330 or 440 gallon limit. So the 1,500 R&M fee and the permit fee of 150 comes to 1,650. And some of the notes were that he's adding the half bath to the warehouse, he's tying into the manhole. Approvals will be valid for 2 years from the date of your vote, and all structures must have cleanouts per the specifications contained in the ordinance, which I did tell him was 2 required outside with top hats.
I wonder if we want to camera that while we had her open.
You gonna camera A.W. Perry's line?
Yeah. I'm gonna think about that, but no, I have no problem
Well,
with that.
I'm just curious why we would camera that line.
Just to see the integrity of it, that everything's sound and why and I while we have it open.
Yeah, we have a camera here. Are you
Yeah.
aware of that?
No.
Yeah. I don't know
Okay.
how
No,
the length of that camera, but we have one.
It's an opportunity to look for opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
If you wouldn't have a problem doing that, would you, while they have it open?
What is it now?
Just throw the line on A.W. Perry, and I think that's not common, is that industrial or commerce, one of those. Just while they have it open, throw the camera down, see if there's any I&I there.
We can
It's
do
been
that.
quite a while.
Yep. You want us to use the camera we have on site?
Yeah, see how
Okay.
far down it would go.
Alright.
That's,
Robin, if you can just shoot me an email on that.
there's no urgency on it,
Yep.
just saying if you can spring the guy while we have it open, if it's an
Does it have to
opportunity.
happen in conjunction with the first inspection when he has it open?
Yeah, we could do anything like that.
Alright.
Just while it's open, I think, why not?
All right.
I'm reaching for anything I can right now. And I know that was not done as part of our I&I repair work or the metering.
Okay, and then the next thing that I have, so 978 Union Street and 986 Union Street. So 978, they're the people who cut and capped the sewer, and then we had inspected after the fact, and now he wants to tie that building in. So Chuck went up there, met their drain layer on site, and there's a weird arrangement going on where one house is tied into the other house for sewer. They were owned by the same owner, and we had this happen before on Pacific Street. But there is 2 separate stubs. One they tied into, so I guess we have to figure out and make sure
Yeah.
that the one house is tied into the one assigned to that home, and then tie the other one into the correct stub moving forward.
What had happened when I went out and I met Mike McDougal, I saw the where they cut and capped 978. But what confused both him and I was that we saw another 6-inch PVC going off to the direction of 986, so I had him go back a little further, and that pipe is not cut, but I did see a cast iron fitting. So at first I thought, and he and I both thought that both houses were connected to the same lateral. So I prepared a letter, and then after I was talking with Robin found the documentation that shows 2 tie-ins. So I went up today to look for Mike McDougal because the excavator's still on site, he's not there. But what I'm gonna ask him to do is to expose that cap again, because it was covered over. And I'd like to camera that, Rick,
Okay.
because I wanna see, number one, where that one on the horizontal going off goes to. Because right now I don't know if there's 1 lateral or 2. Mr. Crowley, you can stick around if you want. I'm not being rude to kick you out. I'm just saying if you got things to do.
Oh,
pick
yeah,
and
I
see
got a lot
maybe
from the
for
water
work.
department.
Uh,
And Robin, if you could give me a call on price.
Yep.
On the thing, I'd appreciate it. And can you guys actually after the fee's paid, e-sign the document for the building department?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Like I said, I didn't say that to get rid of you. I mean, a fine looking gentleman.
No, I get-
I know, we have one person that falls asleep in that chair, and I didn't want to have another picture.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Everyone have a good day now.
So like I said, I went down, I looked for Mike again today, I couldn't find him, it was covered over, so I'm gonna have a phone call into him. I'm gonna ask him to excavate that one more time, just scraping off the top, and cut the cap, I wanna see where those lines go, so I'm not sure what. And in all honesty, Robin brought that up because, and good, because I don't wanna go through the other hassle of the easement, you know, because I couldn't find an easement, if it was. So we're thinking of 320 Concord Street. So if he should sell the house down the road, I don't want, so.
Aren't they
Clean
across
it
the
up
street
now.
from each other?
No, side by side.
How? Because I'm on the even side and the house
I'm
that
pretty
just
sure
left
it's
is on the
986,
opposite.
but I know that they're side by side.
Oh, 986 is on my side, but 987.
No, 978 is
Yeah,
at
989 would be on the other side.
978.
978.
They
Oh,
would be
okay.
neighbors.
So I couldn't figure out, why that was in. The two of us were scratching our heads. So now I'm even more confused, so I want to make sure, and I think it's worth cameraing it to clear up any confusion. And I got to call Bob Galvin because I told
Can you
him.
pass that one so we can sign in, please?
Sign what?
Okay, Robin, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dan. I'm sorry. I got a package delivered today from Kayla Sepulveda. I know that I totally screwed up her name, but she's with Sullivan and Comerford, and it's for the residents at the Harmon Club. It says, "Dear Mr. Hessian, enclosed herewith, please find the following: a sewer service request letter from High Point Engineering and a site plan from High Point Engineering. Could you please put us on the next available agenda to discuss this project? That would be greatly appreciated."
Out of curiosity, how many units are they talking?
What's the name of this, the residences at Harmony Club?
Yeah, was it previously known by the street address?
Yeah, 168 Concord Street. This is,
Oh,
project will
368.
consist of 79 multifamily residential units.
I'm sorry, how many did you say?
79 multifamily units. We'll table this for review.
Do you want to put it on the agenda?
No, not yet, because we had said that we're not taking any more applications pending the current capacity issue. But
I think when you told her that you put a bee in her bonnet, she wanted to get that in just so she'd get on the waiting list.
I want to discuss it with the board first.
All right.
I don't want to make a decision right now. So why don't we table this for Tuesday?
Sounds good.
That's the working session agenda.
Yeah, I'll do it next Tuesday.
And what day is that, the 25th?
Yes.
Oh my God, trick question.
It's summertime.
That's right.
That's
Okay.
true, Mary, summertime.
FYI, that's 17,380 gallons a day.
How many?
17,300 gallons a day. 79 units times 2 bedrooms, each unit 158 bedrooms, 110 gallons, yep.
They're all
17
two-bedroom units?
Yep, 1,738 gallons a day.
Wow.
Okay. you
So,
said-
Reed Bent is waiting for a sign off
Who
from
is?
you guys. Reed Bent Road. We need to figure out if the lateral, if the addition is going over the lateral.
Yes.
It is going over the lateral?
No, I'm not sure yet. We're going to talk to them. We were going to ask them to camera it.
Well, they can't camera because they don't have installed it yet. I think they need to, what you were looking for was the drawing that shows it on the lot.
Yeah, okay, so what we'll do is we'll condition it. It's gonna condition it to find out where it's gonna tie in.
All right, so we need another drawing from them?
Yeah.
Do you wanna reach out to them, or do you want me to do it?
If you could, I'd appreciate it. If you're not, I can do it. It's up to you.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'm sorry I'm slow, it's hard to do the minutes and my parts, I'm sorry. It was this for Lee Bent Road. Thanks, Bobby Joe. Project manager. Drawing.
What is this addition? A bedroom or just a living space?
I think it's a master bedroom addition,
Well, that's the bedroom with a,
but they
is
were,
that half the
they were
bath?
changing the
with bathroom?
footprint of the house,
Mm-hmm.
and that was where the issue
We'll
came
make
in.
sure where the lateral was and what the time was gonna be.
All right. And that's it for me,
Good.
thank you.
Project updates. As far as the project updates were, this is a monthly meeting. It's the same, basically the same thing as we did with the working session last week. The I&I rehab for Weston Sampson is completed. I do not have the full report yet. I will not have that till mid-end of August, and it looks like they removed, a little update, a sewer system evaluation study was conducted by AECOM in 2021. They found what they estimated to be 219,000 gallons of I&I that was cost effective for Rockland to remove. Further investigation, and by the estimates provided by Weston Sampson, they estimated that 50% of that would be able to remove. They went into lining, grouting, camera work, and in actuality, they feel they have removed 113,863 gallons a day of I&I. That was from the remediation work that's already done.
What was the number, I'm sorry, 113?
The 113,863 gallons. You want to break down, 80,150 was from grouting and services. 12,350 was from manhole, cementing, sealing. And other sort of work accounted for 21,000, total 113,863. Rick, I think you're starting to see some of that in the flows reduction.
It has been reduced, it has been going down except for that last rain event we had.
Okay, again, that final report will be out mid to end of August, and it'll have maps of where they cambered and where they found potential I&I. Now, the potential I&I was really part of the annual one-year metering flow program, where they installed 15 meters throughout the town, 3 groundwater gauges and 1 rain gauge. They monitored those for 10 weeks, and that ended the end of June. Again, in that final report, there'll be a map indicating the sewer system with the pump stations and the areas that they metered. And then there's another map that the currently one I have, but the one I think I showed on the working session of the last meeting was colored. And it did indicate one area in town that may have the potential, and I want to really underline that word potential, of maybe having in the areas of meter 9, which the areas of that is Uptown, Plain Street, part of North Avenue, and why do I want to say Lindelof? I think it's Linden Street off the Union, that may have the potential of 450,000 gallons of I&I. Now, out of that potential, not all of it is going to be able to be captured and repaired. So again, we have to look at the data. That number will be tweaked, either up or down. And after we get that final report, it'll be up to the sewer department to take the money and conduct another sewer system evaluation study on that area that they identified to specifically identify those sources of I&I that may be able to be repaired.
And that's
Can
around
I have a
meter,
copy of that? No, can you email me the copy?
Yeah.
is that
Okay.
around meter 9?
It's around meter 9, yeah.
So, and I do have one question for you, so previously you said 50% could be removed, is that like the standard, so we would?
No,
expect
50, they identified 450,000 gallons. The exact word, the preliminary results from meter 9 suggest in that area that there's maybe 450,000 gallons of I&I. Now, not all of that 450,000 is gonna be able to be repaired.
Right, so is the rate 50%, or we have to wait until?
Well,
we get
I'm not
SSE
even gonna
set?
hazard a guess
Okay.
till I,
All right,
okay, so what we're gonna do with that, and we have the money allocated in our I&I budget. I think I recall an estimate of 150,000 gallons, dollars to do that. I think we can reduce that cost if we cut and paste a previous SSES study bid. I can handle that. I have most of it completed. What I will need to have done is the legalese contract mumbo jumbo. And I'm sure that's standard cut and paste also, so we can save some money there.
all right.
So, what I'm thinking of is this for timeline. We get the final report, let's say September 1. 2 weeks to analyze that, 3 weeks maybe. Submit a scope of work to bid on the SSES work. Probably a month and a half to get those bids in and select the vendor. So that puts us out to when? That puts us out to let's say November, on the 1st of November. Give the vendor a month to mobilize. Now we're at the 1st of December holidays.
I have a question anyway,
Shoot.
can they remove I&I in the winter?
Well, they may be able to do some with manholes and stuff like that, but that's what I was just getting into. It's gonna be all weather permitting.
Okay,
So I'm saying if best case scenario, we may be ready to move on this aggressively December, but let's give ourselves the 1st of January to have a vendor mobilized and ready to go, and all this would be, the initiation of the work would be, of course, weather permitting. Some I&I work could be done, sealing manholes, what have you. And again, it has to be yet to be determined what exactly needs to be done. We won't know until we get in there. And to me, Rick, that would make a lot of sense when they identified meter 9, because you're looking at Plain Street, North Ave. Plain Street runs down to East West Water, runs up to John Down Drive and into Reed's. So we've seen heavy flows up in that.
Yeah.
I know that area, and you know that that's along French's Stream.
Yes.
And you've got the stream for the Linden Street area is another stream that feeds into French's Stream that goes into Studley's Pond, Reed's
Yeah.
Pond.
Well,
So that might be a high water table, because French's Stream is a gaining stream, so it's drawing.
And that would be one of those that would be cost prohibitive to go after if
Mhm.
it's underwater. So that's why I'm not excited about that. I mean, if I had to throw out a number, which I'm not gonna be quoted to, I'd say, we're gonna be lucky if we see 100, 150 out of that. Because of the area it's in.
450?
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't put that down, it's just that's my bit.
Well, you know, if you say it, it comes by the minutes.
Okay, what it is, because the reason I'm saying that is I recall talking to
Yes.
people when they were putting the lines in on Plain Street. They ran into a lot of high water there on
Yeah.
Plain Street, and at that time, they just threw gravel over the pipes, they didn't sand it, they didn't clay it. So that could be a nightmare too, so, I mean, we're gonna really need a good SSES on that, so.
Can I back up, I have a question on the SSES, are we gonna use AECom again?
I don't know, I'm going out to bid.
Oh, it has to, oh, I didn't realize the SSES study itself has to go out to bid.
Yes.
Even if you have a relationship already, because isn't it cyclical, that still goes.
Well,
away
it could be
with the bid again?
cyclical, but again, okay, and here's what I'm looking, we had Weston Sampson go in and look at all that other data, and they did the work there, all right, repair
Okay.
work. What I'm trying to do is keep my costs down, what I don't And this may not even come to fruition. What I'm thinking in my mind, if we have, okay, we'll just contract with AECOM to go out and do it. Then we got to maybe contract with Weston Sampson to repair it. Maybe it's something we could work out combined. So right now I'm saying it's got to go out to bid.
Oh, so, okay, so we could combine the SSES study with the removal.
Right, that's
and
what I'm
they could
hoping to
bid
do.
on- Do companies do both though?
I don't know. That's what I want to find out.
Yeah, because AECom, I don't think they.
I would say yes, because the AECOM was going to bid on the repair work.
Oh, and they had that low price.
Hmm.
That didn't work out. But Weston and Sampson, do they do SSES studies?
I don't know yet.
All right, because I'm thinking they put us in the direction of the flow monitoring instead.
Right, they get all, and they have all the video work and all the other work, and why do I want to pay them to make copies?
To give to someone else.
Someone else.
Okay.
So I just want to lay it all out and think it. I don't want to commit to anything right now until we have time to chat about it. But anyway, that's the timeline I'm looking at. So if we look at possibly doing an SSCS study and getting the vendor moving, let's say January, weather permitting, we may have freed up enough I&I to satisfy our backlog. May, okay? Now, I think we also have enough in the coffers to go after additional I&I work. And that is not saying I don't want anyone to think we're throwing wide open to new connections. And I'm going a little bit further with a conversation I had with the EPA the other day. So anyway, that's what I'm looking at. In the meantime, I think we gotta keep pedal to the metal and working on that moratorium, exactly what we wanna do. So with that said, I'm just gonna go briefly, I'm not gonna steal Rick's thunder later on, but right now it looks at 12-month rolling average for daily flow is at 2.47. Now, that's with just 6 months of data because the permit changed in February. That's not a real 12-month snapshot. So with that said, Monday, what day's today? Today's Wednesday. Monday morning, I had a conversation with the EPA. It started out on the CWMP. I had to get that out. It's fucking organized. I have my
You
minutes.
have big enough stuff eating the cake?
Can you email me this stuff?
Yeah, I will do that. It's all public record. I
Yeah.
will gladly do that. Let me just find my notes because I want to, there was some interesting comments. All right, so we're going back on capacity with this. So I'm leading into the CWMP. We had a conversation Monday, and that we being Kevin Olson, Adam Higgins from Wright Pierce, myself, Dave Burns from Mass DEP, and Dave Turner from the EPA. And I'll go into the CWMP afterwards. But we got to talking about flows also. And you gotta remember there's a couple concessions that we're gonna be going after, and so I was really leery about asking them anything about flows because of the phosphorus issue. So when it came down to the EPA, Dave Turner, EPA mentioned that he had some comments, concerns of what Rockland will plan to do in the future, but he's gonna hold off until the September report. I promised him I'd update him on the September report as far as the metering and write out my game plan. Because the CWMP doesn't explicitly say the town's detailed tasks going forward. And he wants to look at the EPA comments, DEP comments. And he said he likely won't weigh in. But he made it explicitly clear that the EPA, and these are his words, are looking for a more concrete plans to reduce flows, continually reduce flows, and to have Rockland into steady compliance. Continuous, steady compliance. So, I say that only because as we go back to the moratorium in the 11-to-1, we owe 11-to-1. So, we could play games with that number and exactly what we owe, but I want to be very cautious in how we approach that manipulation of the numbers. But I don't think they will buy, and Kevin Olson agrees, I don't think they will buy us giving capacity that we don't have, that we have to physically have that capacity available, which is the direction we're going. I didn't say that to him. I didn't even tell him we're looking at modifying the moratorium. But I'm saying that to just you and Dan to keep in mind that we're on the radar. Okay.
When you say modify the moratorium, what direction are you going? when you say
We
that?
don't know. We're talking about it now. It's in our working sessions. We've come up with 4 conditions that we think should be met. Now we're just tweaking it. And I'll be going into the
You wanna make sure
moratorium later.
that the moratorium today meets what's happening today.
And down the line.
The one we have was in effect
The
last
one,
year.
so for
just
update
wanna
people on the
update it
moratorium.
as circumstances change.
The previous moratorium I wrote in late 20, early 21, in anticipation of the EPA issuing us an administrative order, and it was obvious it was gonna be with conditions. I wanted to at least show them that we're being proactive and looking at stuff, trying to head them off, and if not head them off, showing that we wanna work with them, not against them. So every school, but that moratorium was written based on our conditions at that time.
I was just trying to figure out if you were trying to get more strict on the moratorium, or if you were trying to go in the direction of maybe passing some of those projects up.
What
to
I'm
the
looking
benefit
is,
of the town.
what I'm looking, or hopefully the board will do, was be able to modify that moratorium to allow new connections reasonably. You didn't have to choke on that, I meant reasonably.
Oh, I know all about that.
Okay, so,
Without causing problems with the EPA.
without
Yeah.
EPA, because I want everyone, it's not being gun shy. We've got some strict conditions on our administrative order. Rick and I both know, and he's been part of the conversations, and Rick, that came up in this one too, that after the fact with Kevin Adam. I think we're really at the point where we're gonna have to approach the EPA of an extension on the phosphorus moratorium. The approach I'd like to take to that, which I explained to Kevin and Adam, is I'd like to wait until we have some concrete data, so show them that we're still being proactive. That concrete data being the CWMP public comment complete. I want to have a plan that I can hand them and say, here's what we're going to do with the data we have. And then say, oh, by the way, will you grant me? And I think, and Rick, you were part of a conversation about 6 months ago, that I think, my gut feeling is that we approached him for 2 years, and he just basically chuckled to body language. I think we'll get a year out of him. If we get a year, that means we have until April 1st, 2026 to get that phosphorus online. Now, what he said to me was that he may be open to that. He said, are you still planning on throwing chemicals at it? And I said, yes. And I said, but that's killing us in sludge. And that led into another discussion, which I'll share with you later.
With that, just quickly, with that being said, Chuck, we have met the .1 this whole year. So we can do it chemically, it's just what's happening to the equipment because of the amount of chemicals we're throwing out there. So I think that will help the town. There should be no reason they wouldn't give you an
No, I don't,
extension.
I think, again, I agree with you, and I think there's no reason he won't give us 1 year. I think with our past track record, we go for 2 years, and you saw his body language, he basically kind of chuckled. So, again, as Rick was alluding to, can we meet it chemically? Yes, but that is a real double-edged sword. It's killing us in sludge, it increases the sludge. Rick can speak to that later on, and sludge disposals is becoming a horror show. And you should have heard the discussion that led into. They want to crack down on users such as us on sludge, but they're giving us no option for disposal. There's no disposal options. I said, What do you want us to do, ship it to you? It's not that
So I have
bad.
a quick question. The extension request is to the DEP, they're the ones, it's not the EPA.
EPA, no, excuse me, it's EPA.
Oh, it is?
It is EPA.
Okay. You might have said that and I got it wrong.
No, I probably didn't.
And the extension would bring you out to April 1st, 2026.
We don't know if they go with it.
Right, but that's
just-
what you're
That's what
requesting.
I'm gonna try to do. Okay, with the CWMP, we talked into, and this is just dragging out, dragging out, and dragging out. So what I asked Dave Burns and Dave Turn to allow us to do was let's get it out published in the newspapers for public comment. So that went out yesterday.
What is that document?
The notice of public comment in the newspapers for the CWMP,
How long is the comment period?
45 days.
Okay.
So that 45 days, we are going to have a public presentation, a public hearing on September 6th. That is a tentative date. Now, the options are in-person, or in-person Zoom, or just Zoom, or just in person. I think, and this is up to the board to decide, I think I would lean more towards a Zoom. Would give the opportunity for more people to attend. Probably some people may not attend, but it'll also give an opportunity for more people to comment. So that's food for thought, because I can always amend that as far as hearing, but the public comment period is out. By public comment period, I should have an electronic copy in my file today. Electronic copy has got to be available on the town website, on the sewer department website, and a hard copy. Now, the hard copy could be either at town hall or here. I think I'd rather have that hard copy document here. And if I was gonna have I was gonna say a viewing, but that sounds like we're going big. If we're gonna have we have that open for viewing, possibly, Robin, the hours 8:30 to 3 p.m. Monday to Thursday.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that sounds good. So did you do that yesterday, the electronic copy?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to ask you when it has to go on the website. Okay.
No, I haven't seen it yet. Maybe in my email today.
But you asked them to publish it yesterday?
I asked them to publish it yesterday.
Okay. So once you get it, are you going to send it to Gino to go on the town page?
I thought I was gonna talk to you about how you wanna handle that.
I can do the sewer page. I can't do the town. I
All
don't
right.
have access to that.
Do you want me to just send one electronic copy to you and you can send it to Gino?
Well, if you send it to Gino and request it, and just copy me, he'll actually put it on both pages at the same time.
Okay, I'll do that. But it has to be on the town website, the
sewer page,
sewer department
and you need a
website,
hard copy of the
and a
page.
hard copy will be here.
Okay, and the viewing hours, you said 8:30 to 3?
Yeah, that's it. I wanted to go around with you guys before you're here, Monday to Thursday.
And I think we're gonna be able to manage that crowd.
Okay.
Do people need to sign in if they come in to see it?
Yes,
They do?
I would, yeah. If they come in and view that, I'd want to see a log.
Okay.
You might want to have your comment period coincide with when it goes up online.
Well,
So, will they be providing the comments while they're here? How do they submit their
no,
comments?
on the comments have to go to Wright Pierce.
Oh, okay. So
And they will be included and they'll be answered.
Oh, that makes life easier, okay.
No, Rick, trigger my mind. North River Watershed Association. What was her name?
Samantha Wood.
Samantha Woods. Did we promise her a copy, or did we tell her would make it to let her know when it was available?
I thought it was when it was gonna be available.
I think we were just
That's
telling
when
them.
it's available because it will be on my website.
Right.
All right, I'll
Yeah.
send her an email as a courtesy. Samantha Woods, right? That could lead into a nice.
Yeah, I think what happened previously was she wanted us to send her a link and we pushed back and said, we'll let you
Yeah,
know that.
because there's
Yeah.
event.
Yeah.
This may,
Want to be on the
this
list.
may work, and you may wanna be in touch with her also, you know, with that letter of support
Yep.
for grants and all that.
Is she gonna
For
give
the
us a letter or
document
something?
here, do we need to have some kind of a sheet for the public to make a comment here that we would forward?
I don't know, I
Because
could,
telling the public to send it to Ray Pierce is
Well, that's the way they wanted it.
problematic,
all right, let me,
But
They get
we-
their address. I've done this before. and
Yeah.
It would be go to White Pierce, because they're gonna answer, and
They're
they
gonna
give their
answer.
address, so on and so forth. It would be on the, what you submit for, to say comments go to, and
Right,
so
I
on
don't
and so
want to
forth.
be responsible for handling someone's comments.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree,
think we
I
can
don't think we
Okay.
should.
provide an email address and a hard address for people who wanna mail it.
Okay.
Because
All right, so
that's what's
we need
on there,
something- Some way to provide
Right.
that.
because there is an email address on there.
Okay.
Because they
All
have,
right.
they have a
That's
lot
my
of days
questions.
to make comments,
How
and
is
some
the
people
public
make
going to
them.
know?
sooner than
or
later,
something?
yeah.
Is there
Okay.
is there a physical address, cause some people aren't going
Yes, there is,
to email.
there's a
Okay.
physical address, and I asked for both. Okay, so we went on that, okay, so Dave Burns mentioned DEP has questions, I forgot about that, I have a meeting with DEP next Friday, this Friday,
The 21st?
the 21st, phone call with Dave Burns. Okay, Wright Pierce will schedule the public hearing first week of September, work with the town to issue a newspaper evidence, post on the website.
Did you say what you're gonna talk to him about? He has questions? Is that what you said?
No, he's gonna tell us his questions.
Okay, David Burns has
Yeah.
questions.
Okay, they asked for an update on the Rockland I&I efforts. I gave an update on the Weston Sampson efforts from late spring to early summer, the flow metering, that we're gonna put out an engineering bid. Wright Pierce is gonna, that's why I put it down here. They insisted that Wright Pierce add these efforts and results into the final CWMP after the public hearing. So we're gonna go from public comment to the hearing, then I'm gonna put out an addendum including the data from the CWMP. Total phosphorus removal, this is where we went into moving towards contract approach. Field work, okay, here's an update for that. The field work and design has begun. We're likely gonna request an extension from the EPA in writing in the near term. Rockland is using chemical removal in the interim and still seeing good total phosphorus removal. The downside is dealing with the sludge, and Synagro is becoming an issue. Synagro is our disposal site. Rick, are they still down to one load a week now, or?
It's a week-to-week thing. Right now, I've been able to get 2 in per
Okay.
week, so keep my fingers crossed.
Okay, the next steps for the CWMP and the administrative order. DEP will issue comments to Wright Pierce by the end of the week. Wright Pierce will update the CWMP with those comments and post publicly the first week of August. Wright Pierce is going to advertise, schedule the hearing the first week of September. Wright Pierce is to update the CWMP with the I&I and lining work and public comments. And issue to September 30th. Our monthly report on September 30th will include all that data. I don't know if you have a copy of that or not.
I didn't have a copy.
Okay, this is just a general handout. I think Robin made a copy for you guys. This is the source well on the generator. The generator is well in progress. They're talking with Caterpillar now, and that's all part of this
How
30.
many KW is this?
I've got it in the specs. I can't recall that from my mind, from the top of my mind.
So we've moved on to generator now?
Yeah, the generator, that's where we are. The generator is out to bid. Caterpillar's putting together a spec, not putting together a spec, giving us a timeline.
Who, Caterpillar?
Caterpillar,
That's a vendor?
yeah. Everything is gonna be conducted through this program, Sourcewell.
That's basically, Robin, that's the state bid list.
Right.
Oh, okay.
You wanna keep this, or you have a copy of it?
I have a copy, I just shared it
I
with
guess you
you.
did, I-
And that's for the generator, right?
Now, one
So
other,
this source well is compliant with our procurement.
yes, it's totally fine. Doug Lapp has been involved from day one.
So are they gonna do our procurement for us now?
It's already done, it's out there now.
And they did it?
They did it, Doug and Veolia. With some help from Wright Pierce, from Weston Sampson. Now, on a side note to that, well, before I go to the next thing, Robin had brought up about a comment made, that, comments made to ZBA and planning and not accepting hearings without approval from sewer and water. And asked if I could get a clarification on that. What I have done is, I think it's in your, or did I give you a copy of the email?
You did.
Okay. I sent an email to attention of Rob Rosa, the planning board, Deb Shuttlesworth, and the Rockland Sewer, CC Doug, Bob Galvin, Tom Rubel, and Crystal.
You have 10 of those? Can I have one? I think I gave you 10 copies. Thanks.
Just explaining that we're in the process of conducting the moratorium, where we are. And I asked if they want to have a sit-down so we're all on the same page. And that sit-down could be Rob Rosa, Mike Corbett, and myself, or an open meeting. However they want to do it. I have not heard a response back to them. I sent that out the 17th, I believe.
And that's just to determine the chain of events, like what order people should be going in front of boards?
Yeah, well, that determine that, what order inside the boards, and, you know, I want them to know where we stand. I'd like to know where they stand.
Okay.
Because we're not accepting applications until.
I think, isn't Kayla the one that brought it up, this girl here?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
so. Generator replacement.
You know,
All right, let's go on to the next order of business, if no questions, is the self-employment thing, the lift station, or,
You mind if I say that?
no, go ahead. I had met briefly, as I said at the working session, that I had met with representatives from Brookfield Building. I call it the Navy base, so I got a name. The people I met with were Tetra Tech. They are in charge of the, they have been entrusted with the infrastructure work. It was just amazing to exchange some reports that we had that they needed, and to tell us, being the sewer commission, that they're gonna have a need of right now it looks like 200,000 gallons a day, should they go through. And that they mentioned that'll all be discussed at the special town meeting on November 6th, when they apply for rezoning.
how many gallons?
200,000 gallons a day as it stands now. Abington's will go to Brockton, Weymouth's will go to Weymouth, MWRA, Rockland has to take care of their own. That's how it was pushed to me. They mentioned nothing about water. I don't care about water. So that's where that stands.
Can I add to that, please? Selectman Childs had sent an email to myself to make sure that we had seen the presentation that the board gave to our board select people. And she said, she noted that they have had a feasibility study done at the base, and they cannot put an independent sewer system in there. They would have to feed into our current plant. She had asked if the developers would be willing to help fund upgrades to our current sewer system, and he said quite possibly. And she gave me his contact number to get in touch with him.
Who did she give you as a contact?
John Tewig.
Okay, I will make contact with him, and I'm curious why Lori's sending you that.
Yeah,
It
well-
should be coming from John Eller.
I would agree with that.
All right, I would like you
But,
to.
my response to Lori was that I would consider the best approach to this offer.
All
Yeah.
right, but I would also appreciate if you added in any further correspondence, please, go through John Eller.
Sure.
Go through John Toward.
No, if they have any, if the board of selectmen have any comment.
John
regarding
Allard is
sewer.
our new
Yes,
sewer liaison.
But I'm gonna say, if you want, directly get in touch with John Toward.
I'm gonna get in touch
There's
with
no,
John. Eller.
that, yeah, you wanna do
And I'll
that.
invite him to a meeting if you give me his contact meeting. But I appreciate Laurie's input. However, if you
I
can
do.
send me a copy of that, I'd
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah.
But I prefer, from here on, it goes through the sewer liaison. Well, that's all I had with the base.
Can you mind if I say something on that?
Sure.
Are we gonna move this meeting to later on in the day so John can actually participate? Because this is the first time we've had it at 2, and keep him at the working sessions, but remember we were gonna have him at 3:30?
Right, and usually they were gonna be on Thursday to accommodate him But I was told from a high authority that tomorrow is my anniversary, and I couldn't make it this week.
You had to save your own skin, okay.
Rules are-
How many
Oh,
years?
so, and then we decided to do it early because you couldn't participate anyway?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. You know I have to understand
No, I
everything.
know
Get the
that.
questions, yeah.
No, that, I answer to a higher authority. Are we all set on the base? Okay, next item of business is a highway drainage letter that I received, or I think the commissioners received. I'd like to read that into the record. And I'll comment first. This is dated July 7th of 2023 from David Taylor, Rockland Highway. Dear Commissioners, the Rockland Highway Department took over the town's drainage and started the MS4 compliance permit a little over 5 years ago. We are currently through year 5. About 3 years ago, we established the drainage department. Since the start of the MS4 permit process, the cost of engineering has been split between sewer, highway, drainage. That's sewer/highway/drainage. The engineering is contracted out to environmental partners. Open drainage, cleanouts, fencing, and some guardrail installs around open outfalls and head walls have been paid through the drainage budget at the sewer department. In keeping with past practice, we would like to continue expensing these smaller projects to the open drainage budget for sewer. We will forward any future projects to the board for the board's approval when appropriate funding is needed. Any questions, please feel free to reach out. Dave Taylor, Highway, Drainage, Tree, Streetlights Superintendent. Now, we received that letter via email. I had prepared a response to discuss with the board that I gave to them last week, solely for their review, and I asked them to just look at it. And I came up with 2 options for that letter. I came up with a 3rd option. And the reason I'm doing it, or coming up with different options, is that we've come a long way since a year ago as far as finger-pointing innuendos and general bullshit. All right? I don't care to revisit that. However, we were, all of us, I don't care what department, what office you hold, one of the parts of the oath is to uphold the charter and the bylaws of Rockland, Massachusetts. Article 5, Board of Sewer Commissioners, Powers and Duties, states, Section B, 13(8)(b). And I'm just reading this into the record as it stands in the bylaws because I want to come up with an appropriate response to it, and a professional one. Under the powers and duties, the Board of Sewer Commissioners shall also be known as the Drainage Committee and shall have all the powers and duties conferred upon it by the charter, the town bylaws, the votes of town meeting, and the general laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. That was added to the charter 5/19 and 97 at town meeting, Article 32. It was amended on May 5th, 2008 at town meeting, Article 23. As it stands now, that has not been modified. It has not been changed at town meeting, so it still stands valid in the charter. Now, with that said, the highway department has been giving us, the sewer department, a lot of help with drainage. However, drainage still is the responsibility of sewer and solely sewer. The MS3 program, the EPA and NIPD's program clearly states that MS4 and the NIPD's program are the responsibilities of the owner-operators of the regulated municipal separate storm sewer systems. In our case, that's a sewer system. Oh, that's my train of thought now. Okay, so I had asked Robin 2 weeks ago to pull any minutes going far back as 2016, because I came on the board of 17, for any reference of drainage or MS4 permits. I handed you copies of copy of all the minutes that referenced drainage or email. There is nothing indicating in there that there were any discussions of turning over drainage responsibilities. I don't know how it was done, and I'm not saying anything yet, but what I'm saying is that no formal meeting took place. There is no notices of that being transferred. So I gave you option 3 to look at. Now, I'm not going to go into all the various discussions. I think what we should do is I think we should invite David into a meeting, open public meeting. And here is what I think we should request of him. Prior to that meeting, please supply 2 weeks in advance of our meeting copies of the following documentation for the Board of Sewer Commissioners to review. And I don't mean as hostily, I don't know if that's a word. I want to make sure we have a working relationship. I think that's important. But what I'm looking for is documentation indicating when this transfer of drainage responsibilities took place. So I'm going to give you these. Copies of the written and approved minutes from the meetings where this transfer took place. Documentation of the Board of Sewer Commissioners approval. Copy of the warrant number and date from the town meeting approving this transfer. Copies in all minutes of the Stormwater Committee, which was formed on June 7, 2019. Now, I was on the board at that time. The board appointed me to be on that committee. I only recall being invited to one meeting. And there was nothing about transfer of that, which was formed on June 7, 2019. And I'd also would like to see for my own, and I'm not questioning anything, but I want a full understanding, and I will go into that and reason for that in a moment. I'd like documentation indicating the physical drainage work and the repairs conducted by the Highway Department in fiscal year 23. As far as I know, most of that labor is subcontract that out. I may be wrong. The reason I have my question, and I'm not questioning David in any form, shape, or manner, again, is from my understanding. First real drainage bill we had that took an impact was last November, October of Beach Street, maybe it was early this year, where we approved $20,000, $24,000 of drainage work, yet we would hit with a bill of $48,000. I am not questioning that $48,000. It may be sound, but all I want to do is I want to say, okay, whose responsibilities are what? But until the charter changes, I think it's cut and dried, and it's not a power struggle or nothing. No one can take over responsibilities of drainage. That is the sewer departments. If the charter commission wants to change that, you know, I'll follow whatever the charter says. But, you know, I just want to make sure the playing field is level, equal, and out there. And again, I want to say the highway department is on a hell of a job of drainage. But I want to make sure the lines are clear. Whose responsibilities are what and who does what.
And I think that's key, not so much maybe what took place in the past, but what do we want to happen now?
Right.
And that needs communications and spelled out very clearly.
Because and I don't know what took place in the past, but what I don't want to happen is find out after the fact of conversations with developers that regarded drainage. And I know there were conversations with drainage with the base. I have no idea what was said.
Right.
And if that's going to be the case, at least we should be in the loop or present with those negotiations. So that's all I want to get through. And I don't want this to be interpreted as, you know, who the hell are you, babe? I mean, I want an amicable working relationship, and I'll share with you.
Were we able to get a copy of that contract from Environmental Partners?
No, I did not ask for a copy of that yet. Robin does not have a copy of it. I have not seen it. I will tell you that that contract was approved by the Rockland Board of Sewer Commissioners in, I believe, June of 2018. I remember that vote with Environmental Partners. That was the only time I saw that contract. Where that contract is now, I have no idea what, but I do know what that contract would do. I can get that, but I am trying to it is our responsibility, Dave's been handled, all right, let
Yep.
him provide.
Yep.
But,
So you're saying the contract for drainage with environmental partners was approved on June 28th?
it's somewhere around
So-
June, I have the exact date.
Okay.
In fact, it was approved on October 25th, 2018.
October 25th. Thank you.
On October 25th, 2018, it was mentioned in the sewer commissioners meeting minutes that the selectmen were placing an article at town meeting by Ms. Hall in the amount of $50,000 for stormwater. It was on this date that the sewer commissioners voted approval on that contract with environmental partners. John Laughlin was superintendent. And I go on, and still no mention of transferring drainage responsibilities or MS4 from sewer. And I'm saying that again, not to point fingers. I'm saying that I still don't know where this
We
transfer
just
took
need
place.
to understand.
And that's all I want to do. The letter I've written, I was going to, and I still intend when we ever do send it, to CC Doug Lapp, Michael Laughlin, because they had to be aware of this, John Clifford, and if need be, the Massachusetts Inspector General's office for our ruling. But I don't want to go that avenue yet. There's no need to, but I'm not going to get into a pissing contest over
Are you
something
gonna
coming up.
outline the three options that you said, or no?
Yeah.
Right now? Oh, you are, okay.
I thought we were gonna discuss that at our next.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna discuss
Oh,
this
okay.
Tuesday at the working session.
All
I'd
right.
like you present for that.
Tuesday? All right,
Tuesday.
to be discussed.
So I want you to read what I put down in option 3. Dan, we still awake? Yeah.
I'm still waiting.
Okay, option 3, I want you to read through that letter. What my intention is, I want to be professional. I don't want to give any cannon fodder to any BS on Facebook, what have you. I read the letter as it stands into the record. If you want, you can publish that in the minutes from Dave. But Dave should get a response. And I think where they have been doing the work, let's find out what's been done, how it's been done. But very clearly that if there's gonna be negotiation on drainage matters, we want in on that.
And the only I
Not
saw
after the
outside
fact.
trucks for Anderson.
You all set with that, Dan?
Well,
Okay, we can do public comment on that later at the end of the meeting. That's all I have to say about that. Moratorium amendment discussion. What I asked the commissioners at last week's working session, that I would like to make a point of taking minimum of 2 pages of the 2021 moratorium and going through it. What I came out with was a document that I outlined the reasons for the moratorium in bullet form, which we agreed should go maybe at the end of the documentation, in that the first should leading of the document between the whereas or what have you should be the conditions that we've established that we agree on. Now these are the 4 conditions that the board has agreed on that will be the conditions of the new moratorium. Condition 1, there'll be no new connection permit will be issued at any time within 6 months prior to the date of application. 12-month daily rolling average exceeds 2.25 million gallons a day. The reason that's important is that's going to demonstrate to the EPA that we're looking to be compliant. And to be compliant doesn't mean we push the limit with 2.50. We have to have some kind of safety buffer. The heavy rains, flooding, snow melt, etc., etc. Are we going to constantly be in that 2.5? We don't stand a chance in hell of being in that 2.5. But at least we have a starting point, and then if we're at that, we say, look, we can reduce iodine, we'll take out iron, and that's where we're going to go into some of the other conditions, how we can get around that. Condition 2 will be, there'll be no permit issued until there is adequate capacity to meet the complete amount of flow required for the project before the project begins. So we'll have capacity for that project, then take their money to find additional iodine. Condition 3 would be no new connection permit will be issued to any project based on the assumption that the required 11:1 flow removal ratio will be met at a later date after the new connection is made. I think that's kind of where Dave Turn was going. And condition 4 is just one of the same conditions, we just modified it, but condition 4, I think, given the situation that we're in capacity-wise and where our flow is, we've got to be realistic. We developed faster than we could remove the I&I. So what we're presenting now, and these are all subject to modification down the road. But condition now, there'll be a total yearly capacity available not to exceed 30 total bedrooms a year, or 3,300 gallons a day per year gallons a day of wastewater flow. This amount will be reduced as applications dictate. It means if we have 30 bedrooms available, and the unit comes in with, say I have a 3-bedroom unit, that means there's gonna be 27 bedrooms available. We have to be able to manage the flow. Maybe change that 2 weeks from now, we might, I don't know. But that's what we agreed on basically.
So we're gonna track capacity by number of bedrooms as
Yeah.
well as by gallons?
Mhm.
Okay.
We have to have a starting point.
I have one question about number 3. So no new permit with the 11-to-1 ratio not being met up front. Isn't that the same as number 2? No permits issued until we have capacity available up front?
It is,
It's
but
kind of,
redundant, okay, let's,
You said about 250,000 gallons.
The 11-to-1 removal, we're using today's project to start removing that and create the capacity.
right.
But are we saying that that project doesn't get approved until we've removed it?
No,
I'm not sure about
no.
that.
What I
I'm
want
not
to
sure
do is I
about
want to
that.
establish that if we have 5,000 gallons of capacity available for a number,
Yeah.
and somebody comes up to us and says, I need 440 gallons a day. You take that 440 out, you have it, we have that to do.
So
We'll
now-
take your money to go in and remove another 440 somewhere else.
but to get the ball rolling,
But-
we need to have the
We need to have it
capacity
available.
up front.
Yeah, we have to have it
the capacity
available.
up front, the 4,400.
Yeah,
Which-
we have to have
but,
something in that
But
available
number
sewer
3
fund
is the
account.
11-to-1 removal. That's where it's starting to get tricky.
Which if we,
Because when is that gonna be removed?
Okay, no, I would stick with the 11-to-1 ratio, because that's what the EPA is looking for.
You know? But you said it will not be delayed until later. But it almost by necessity has to be later because you can't take it out
right,
within a reasonable time for the project to connect.
Right,
You can make sure that we have the flow capacity.
right, that's what I want to do.
But the 11-to-1 is not gonna come out until later.
Okay, because this is what we agreed on, like, see how, now we're
Well,
going back.
I
All right, so let's talk
question
about
on
it
that,
again
so we'll
Tuesday.
keep discussing that one.
Okay, I want to
I
keep
just
beating, what I want to do before we go on to anything else is beat those conditions to
Yeah.
death.
Yeah,
All right, come down with what's our premise? What's our goal?
yeah.
So, okay, table that, we're going back and revisit the conditions Tuesday.
can I say something about that as
Sure.
well? Because it brings us back to that argument again of if we have the smaller ones that are 3, 4, 10 bedrooms, and we put them up front, and we have to spend their money, get the capacity back, it really slows down the pipeline because we're using all these small projects. If we bumped one of the larger projects to the front, then everyone benefits because
Good point,
we
yeah.
free up so much more, so we're not really penalizing the small people at the front of the line.
All right, we
Well-
shouldn't even take it out of, now I'm talking out loud, I'm saying, why should we even take that? Say someone comes to us with a 4-bedroom, 440, we shouldn't take that 4 bedrooms out of the 30, that should be a max. The 440, we're making enough
So-
money to remove that I and
The
I
440
with their
fly under
maintenance.
the radar.
Yeah,
The
let it go
440
under.
is not part of the moratorium, so yeah, it would not be part of that.
So it wouldn't be part of that 30,
30.
so that changed that, so keep, let's beat this
This
some
is
more.
why, yeah, we need to keep talking.
Let's beat that some more.
Chuck, you're talking about 2.5 million gallons, right?
That's our max.
That's the max, but you should be talking 2.5. So
No.
because we'll never get to our max, so we
No,
don't.
no, no,
accomplish
I
it.
want, that's why I'm holding the 2.25, Rick needs to have some safety buffer, 'cause
That's what I mean.
what I wanna, the other what I'm trying to also demonstrate is we've had 3 sewer system overflows in less than a year and a half.
Yes.
I wanna show them we're being proactive, that we're doing everything we can, that we have some kind of a safety buffer. Is it gonna be realistic? I don't know, we won't know until we dive into this moratorium and start working it. I do know we need revenue.
Yes.
So, it's a starting point, but let's not progress till we get those conditions done. Okay, great. Table of moratorium. I'm done, working session update, sure. You're making it, Dan, you're doing it, you're hanging in there.
Almost.
Well, I think we've got to just demonstrate a good sense of what our working sessions are all about. It's coming up with these ideas and trying to figure out the best way to meet the conditions that are imposed on us and to move the department forward. Moving forward to the accounting update, I promised an update on I&I funds.
That's,
Now, these, I believe, are year-end figures, but we are still doing final reconciliations. In our ARPA, we had a balance of $147,000. We still have some open contracts that have not completed. So after that pending expense is removed, we'll be looking at $25,000 left for ARPA funds.
25 or 125?
25.
Oh, wow.
I still have 100,000 outstanding on the control plan, for example, that has to come out of that 147.
yeah, and I control.
So what I do is I take, what we haven't paid yet, but we have somewhat committed to,
Yep.
and try to project that
So
finally.
the
So
pending-
25,000 would be
So the pending expenses bring us down to 25.
correct. We have an article that is allocated for I&I that we have been using for expenses for the police detail for Green Mountain work.
That's all on the opera.
And that is, this is additional funds that was approved to commingle with ARPA.
Okay.
So there's 37,000 left in that. Now, as far as I can figure out, there's no more police details,
No,
correct?
no, please, that work is over.
So-
Is the EST work over?
Over. The meeting over.
Because I have one in there now,
He-
police detail. Was
He
that the
might
last
have,
one?
that should be the last one, because
It's
they were
4
done,
hours a week.
they were done June 30th.
So it looks like we'll have some funds left in
I will
there.
double
As I
check
said,
that.
we're still doing the final reconciliation on balances in year end. So I expect these to change, and when I get those final numbers, I'll give you the full accounting. And then our 2024 budget, we budgeted 350,000, that's our line item budget for I&I. 50,000 goes to manhole work, and then 150 for the year two. That leaves 150,000.
So we have okay, that's what I wanted
That's
to.
what you-
When we say the manhole work, that's the manhole
Center
work up
Avenue.
on Center Ave? Because we have that whole other manhole list.
Hmm?
Yes, but
And I
that's
spoke to
falling
Pat
under
Brennan on that.
repair.
Okay.
And then we have I&I fees that were paid from developers. We have 351,000 that's been paid so far.
And that's on top of the 150.
Yes,
That's in our revolving I&I?
correct. With, I believe, 2 more projects due to pay.
Okay, while you're on that, there was something else I wanted to bring up. On the waiting list, we had 320 Concord Street in Manzella.
Yep.
For funds, I'd like to release them, send them a letter saying, please start.
Have they paid us their fees?
No.
No,
No.
it's not that big. As far as they're concerned, they're on their waiting list.
All right. So what are you saying? You want them to start their construction?
Yeah.
You want to use that?
And we'll use that I'm gonna use that, because I've always included their flow in what we owe the EPA, so, again,
All right.
long term, I'm thinking we get the flow.
Can we drill into that on Tuesday? I mean,
Okay,
it sounds right, but I'd like to make sure that we have the flow available and that we've,
no, and
our accounting,
okay, because I think
Square.
we'll have enough, again, as I was saying, I didn't wanna go to the EPA and say, we'll give it to you on presumption. I think we know we're gonna get that. So, and I'll explain that in detail. I'll be able to give you my calculations
right,
Tuesday.
yeah, let's
Right, so I'll
drill
do
into
that
that a
Tuesday.
little bit.
So because we got the 351,000 from developers and I that went into revolving, can we use that towards getting us the upfront capacity?
Well, here's what I wanted
after
to
the
do.
SSES?
I don't wanna commit to anything. Here's the only thing I'm gonna commit to right now, and I think it's not up to me, it's up to the board. I would caution you that the only thing we should commit to right now is an SSES study to evaluate that 450,000 potential. I'm not committing any more money to specific I&I and repair until I see what's in that 450. If they've identified a source, that's why I'm confident, okay, once they say, okay, we may be able to give you 150,000. Now I think we have the money to get that 150,000. But what do they get out of that 150? So let's not commit any funds, and I don't want someone saying, oh, you can throw in all these
Right.
developments now.
It would seem that we have a lot of funds,
Right,
but we also have a lot of tasks that need to be completed.
done before we can
And
commit those funds.
We need to figure out what funds are paying for what tasks.
Right, because what I don't
And
want to do
we'll have a
is
plan
blindly
that's-
approve
that's-
projects
Correct,
on presumption.
correct.
So, again, that's
And
just
that's-
just me.
And that's
That's
where
up for you two guys. You could say, you know, you're full of it.
I'd like to see I'd like us to come up with a plan laid out that says, you know, we're gonna do the SSES and we're gonna use these funds to pay for that. And then,
And that's what I promised Dave Turin to do,
Yep.
so I will write out a draft for you for the
Yeah.
next week.
and I think I'd like to keep looking at that available sewer flow account.
Right, that's,
That will help get
but
those
that's
two
after we get the
projects.
conditions.
Yep.
Once we get through the conditions, we can work on that.
Yep, but I think that ties into these two projects. that
It
we
does.
released.
Yeah, Actually,
So,
we're
we're on the
4
right.
projects.
Yeah.
We're on, look,
We are moving in the right direction.
we are moving in the right direction, the flow is showing that, but I don't want to get out over our skis
No.
and blindly say, hey, come on in.
No, can't.
Okay, so that's it.
Okay, done.
Gotcha, okay.
That's it, done.
Hey, okay, I mentioned the CWMP presentation, tentatively scheduled for September 6th, 7 PM. Let's discuss that also Tuesday. Do we want in-person Zoom or in-person and Zoom?
Was it September
Say again?
6th?
What was
September
that?
6th, it's a Wednesday. 7
Oh,
PM
the
either way,
The public hearing?
public presentation. And at public presentation, they are gonna have the opportunity to ask questions there as well.
And who's doing that presentation?
Wright Pierce will be doing that.
Thank you.
I've also asked Dave Burns and Dave Turin if they wouldn't want to be available to ask if anyone has specific questions of the EPA. They said they'd get back to me, that they'd prefer not to, but they'll think about it. Rick, you're on.
All right. Let's see. A little bit to talk about tonight. All right, let's see. Megan is unavailable right now, so I'm filling in from the MOR's standpoint. June, we were at 1.7 million gallons per day, so we passed. The influent, like Chuck said earlier, we're running right about 2.6. The effluent rolling average, we're running at 2.5. Like I explained the last meeting, we are now permitted to use our current effluent flow meter. So there is a discrepancy, a couple of 100,000 between the influent and effluent, and that's basically water that's kind of going around the facility. The effluent is the true water going out to French's Stream. So there is, we anticipated there being 200,000 to 300,000 gallons per day difference, and the numbers are actually coming right in. But like Chuck said earlier, right now 2.5. That's only based on 5 months. Next month, if we end up with a 1.7, 1.8 for this month, you're going to see it drop drastically. It's going to go to like 2.3. We really need to get through a whole consecutive year to see where that effluent flow, not monthly average, but rolling average is. So again, we're heading in, like Chuck said, we're heading in the right direction.
If I could, Rick, just one thing for Bobby Joe. The facility, we can discharge legally by the NIPD's for 2.5 million gallons a day. We've been way over that, and that's a normal. That's why we got hit with the administrative order and that. Previously, what you'll see is the monthly goes like this. You know, give a heavy rain month, or you have dry summers down here, and then you come October to January, it's up there. But the board or engineering, you shouldn't make a decision like that based on, oh, I hit bottom in May, I can admit 4 million gallons. You gotta look at 12 months data worth of, to come up with a number, and that's where that 2.5, 2.4 is. That's what we wanna use. And hopefully the goal is to get to 2.25.
So the discrepancy that he's speaking about is we have an influent meter that measures the water coming into the sewer plant. We just recently acquired an effluent meter, and the measurements, there's a discrepancy, but he's saying it's not accounting for the flow that's in the system.
In the
at the
system
time,
right
so
now.
that's the discrepancy.
And with that being said, the weekend rain that we had over the, I think it was Sunday, we had a little over 2 inches in Rockland, and the flow shot right up. I mean, right now, I'm averaging 3.0 million gallons.
What was your high?
Actually, that day, when I checked, it was about 3.8, so it's not bad. Yeah, that's actually, better than I thought.
And that's something every single wastewater treatment plant
Right.
would see, would rain, like we had.
Right.
I have all kinds of questions.
Yeah, we're not,
But I'm gonna get to those.
Oh, yeah.
Not today.
It'll take some time.
Yeah.
As far as R&M, there's really no outstanding issues. Chuck, I did have a question for actually yourself and the board regarding capital. 2 things was the Spruce Street IFB. That's only reason I would like to get that project started this summer, and Weston and Sampson completed the Butternut project, and they're just kind of waiting for it to hit the streets.
okay, just so you know, I have that scope all written.
Okay.
I just gotta put the legalese in it. What I wanna have discussions with Chris Kenny on, Chris Kenny's our attorney. Where it's over 50. Do I have to put that out to bid, or can I just say, and as an engineering request, I'd like to have Weston Sampson do it because they did Butternut, and I wanna duplicate it.
Okay.
I just wanna make sure that we don't get,
Yeah, like I said, I know Butternut had to go out to bid, and, they were actually the only vendor showed up. So I took them out.
that's what I'm gonna hope.
I took them out over to Butternut, showed them everything, and then they ended up,
Have they been in Spruce?
they have not. I believe they have not. And the other thing, any updates regarding the digester piping, as far as going out to bid? Didn't hear you mention anything about that today.
Digester piping, yes, we have, did we get approval? I have squash on it.
Yeah, we asked for extension on that one, right?
Yeah, we asked for the extension, I don't think we have anything in writing yet.
All right.
I think we have a verbal, but I wanna see it in writing, that's where it was.
I think, we obviously need to get that out to bid. Hopefully,
Like I
hopefully
said
come in
at the
with lower
last
numbers.
meeting, I was gonna go in and ask for 2 years and hope for 1. Chris just gave, asked for the 2 years, and I think they're gonna approve it.
Okay. Yeah.
But that leads into another discussion on the generator. I mean, not the generator, the boiler and available funds. So,
So Chris Kenny's the one who put the request in for the extension?
yes,
And that was-
I signed it. It came from me, but I had Chris follow up on
Right,
it.
and it was through the DEP or the EPA?
No, that went
Oh,
through
it's
the
next to the
board, the digester piping board. I'm not sure
Oh,
of the
that's
board
right,
right
that's right, the
now.
licensing board.
Yes.
Gas piping or something?
Gas
Gas
piping.
piping licensing board. Thank you.
Okay, so regarding the new Mass General permit, like I said, that went into effect April 1st of this current year, and it requires us to sample the dreaded PFAS. So as part of the permit, we completed it last week, the sampling first, which was technically the third quarter. We sampled last week. There, according to Alpha Analytical, who is very few, there aren't many labs that actually do PFAS analysis. Probably won't see the results for a minimum of 1 month.
Wasn't that PFAS in 2025?
What's that now?
Well, didn't we didn't have to start
No,
testing
this-
in 2025, or is that
yeah.
nitrogen?
That's probably, that could be more like the nitrogen. This, like I said, is pretty much every facility that received a Mass General permit it's mandatory, they have to do the PFAS testing. And every wastewater plant, what I did, I did the influent coming in, which I'm very curious to see what's coming in, the effluent and a sludge. Effluent, I don't anticipate much of a difference. Maybe somewhat with adding the ferric chloride that we do in the process, it might help it a little bit. But the influence, that's what people are discharging, that's all the IPP, that's the curious one. And then the other one is the sludge.
Mhm.
You know, if we have crazy numbers, you know, I don't know what'll happen to sludge. But again, from what I was told through the EPA is this is basically 5 years of collecting data. Nothing's gonna happen. There's six PFAS per MSDP that has to be sampled. And like I said, once we get the results, I will definitely let the board know. We'll see where the town of Rockland is heading regarding PFAS.
Did you say there's only 6 types they're checking for?
6, yeah. I think there's, I don't know, there's well over 150, but for whatever reason, SDP picked 6 of them. I don't know why. But with that being said, I also received an email from Jay Pimpere, who's, I believe he's with the IPP, he handles all the IPP for the EPA. He's recommending that the town send out a letter through the IPP program. It'll be shortly. It hasn't started yet for the industry. We only have 3 of them that discharge to the facility. A lot of our other IPP vendors or customers are closed loop so that we don't see their discharges. But I recommend that we send a letter to these 3 IPP, I guess, IPP, and letting them know that PFAS is going to be required. This way they're not surprised.
Does Mass DEP have a generic letter that they're using?
I don't know. I mean, I think Robin sent me a copy of the letter from Jay Pimpere. I'll take a look at that to see if there is. But again, it's just to let everybody know that industry now has to, has to start sampling just like us. I don't even know if it's quarterly or annually. I heard it may only be annually, whereas the wastewater plant, we have to sample quarterly.
I mentioned it'd be quarterly.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if they're gonna keep us on the same, or if they'll keep the IPP on the same as the facility. Let's see, last week we also sampled per Wright Pierce with Veolia via the task order. I gave them a bunch of samples. That's gonna determine what the best application to meet the 0.1 milligrams per liter of total phosphorus. That's due in April 2025 that Chuck talked about earlier and trying to get an extension on that. Also regarding the Wright Pierce Veolia task order, they just completed the survey at the facility. It included everything within the confines of the facility. They also did the wetlands, and the boring will be starting next. So again, this is all part of that.
How many wells they putting in? How many
I
borings?
have no idea, Chuck. You know, the survey just got done last week, so I'm expecting the boring people to be out here shortly.
Just on this property, the plant?
Yep. They're actually a mile away too. I don't know, I guess to get the readings, I was talking to the guys.
I think they have to follow French's Stream.
Yeah, so I think they were as far as, they were in the woods, these guys, man, they were troopers, real troopers. Real troopers. Again, like Chuck talked about earlier, was the sludge. I mean, yes, I can meet the 0.1 chemically. We're doing okay so far for this summer permit, but it does increase sludge, and like Chuck mentioned earlier, you know, it's like getting rid of the sludge here for the town. It's like a week to week. It's like we got to call them up, and you sit back and wait for the email and say yes or no, you know.
Yeah, that was just while you're on that.
Yeah.
I think I gave Dave Burns a coronary. Yeah, I said, you guys are coming out with all these restrictions on us on sludge. He's going, yeah, well, that's the way it's going to be. I said, good, why don't you just reinstitute incinerators? You can put incinerators everywhere. And he said, you can move in next to one. He had a coronary.
You know how that works. Not in my backyard. You know. And speaking of that, actually, I got an email yesterday from Dave Burns, let me know that they were having a meeting yesterday regarding sludge issues in Massachusetts.
Yeah, he told me that was coming down.
So I guess they had that yesterday. The PFAS, Sherry, I remember I forgot what the number you had budgeted. I did get an email, I forwarded it to Robin this morning. that there's gonna be an energy and inflation surcharge of 7.5%. So you might wanna, they said it came out to like $94, so you might wanna, just take a look at that line item.
Okay.
Cause I know it wasn't budgeted and we just kinda figured it would.
Is that for the O and M?
That's for, yeah, that's for the PFAS sampling. Last item, let's see, sampling,
I'm sorry, when is that gonna take effect?
that's July 1st. So obviously I just
Oh,
did
so it
this.
already happened?
Yeah, so I did the samples on July 10th. The letter was post-dated July 1st. So I forwarded to you, Robin.
And 7.5% of the whole monthly premium?
I believe so, yeah. But they wrote, it's funny, they wrote the one for Rockland. So you look at the draft. They sent you a
Because that's
draft invoice.
That's a lot, right?
Yeah, that's 93, like I said, 94, 90, it came up to $94 per quarter. That's what they showed. I mean, like I said, you can take a look at the email I forwarded you. I
All right.
literally just, I just got it late this morning.
All right.
Last thing I have is staffing. Again, it's been brutal out there. We have Deoli has a very good HR department, as far as trying to get these employees, I mean, just potential employees. I've had multiple ones. Last month, I think I talked to him, and the gentleman never showed up. I mean, this is just like crazy. I've never had this issue trying to hire a person. I do have another one scheduled for next week.
Good luck.
Keep my fingers crossed,
How about the gentleman that Jack Egan wrote?
Yep, so I did send him an email per the last email, last meeting, and he turned around and forwarded to another woman, and he thanked me very much.
But
That's,
last,
so
Chaz,
Bobby Joe and Mary know, though, the gentleman referred to is like a placement agency for military personnel, either transitioning out or in the guy that may be in the same
yeah,
level.
but last week he found a water unit that
Okay.
goes out if there's a war
Okay.
or emergency and has to get the water up and running. And he thinks they do sewerage. It's 150 people in the unit. The commander was putting out your information, your company's and yours,
Okay.
to all those people.
Okay.
So you should be getting some calls, hopefully,
Like I said,
on that. But they're involved with water now.
yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Rick, how'd you make out with you were talking about landscaping around?
Here at the facility, I'm still waiting for 2 more quotes.
Did you reach out to Dave about, or do you want me to reach out to Dave about having the tree department do it? Or
Um,
would you just soon go,
Well, are we talking about for this plant?
At the plant
landscaping
and the
here?
stations, yeah. It just gotten out of control.
Yeah, I don't think the highway does it because didn't they just contract out for the
They did.
town?
They did.
They used an outside vendor to
So-
do the town
they
landscape.
did?
Yeah.
How are the parks?
They do some smaller things like tree trimming at the,
Yeah.
Okay, would that include the pump stations too?
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm just waiting, actually, I'm going to, I talked to Dave Taylor, I'm waiting for him to get back to me. Because I asked him the same
If
thing.
that's
I
the
said,
case, do we wanna look into like maybe a 3-year contract with someone? Maybe get a break on it if you offer it to them,
Yeah, I mean,
to do a
something we can
spring,
do.
winter cleanup?
Well, I mean, just something we do annually. I think that's
Yeah,
more
well,
than enough.
All right, if you
Yeah.
wanted to maybe say, okay, we can enter a 3-year contract, but.
didn't we already use a vendor?
I just got 1 quote last week.
No, like a year or 2 ago, I paid somebody. When John Laughlin was here, didn't he hire somebody to do that?
Yeah. That was 2019. Asking me, I don't remember.
I know, but I'm just saying, I think we already have a vendor that we were using.
Right,
I think-
Yeah.
Do you want me
If
to look it up for you?
Please, please. Like I said,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, please.
that's all I have right now at the facility. Otherwise, I mean, the facility's running well. No issues. Obviously, the flow's down. So that's always behooves us to lower the flow, the better the facility runs.
No, that's all, like I said, what the EPA was, that they wanna see continuous improvement on the flow dropping, that we're managing it, and then they want a steady track record of compliance, Brian.
And
Okay.
you and I,
We throw the
have
dice.
Chuck and I have discussed this in the past. It's just like, you just can't come out and say, look what we did. No, it's like, what did we do and what are we gonna continue to do? And that's the only
And
way.
they wanna see measurable results, because they got the lip surface.
That's the only way to remove I&I. You just gotta keep at it. year after year after year.
And inflow and infiltration, which is I&I, it's a dog scale. You're never gonna catch it. As you fix one, it's gonna break down here. So, and Rockland has over 55 miles of clay pipe, full clay pipe. So with that said, before I adjourn the meeting.
Before we move along, I just want to run this by you. I was gonna ask Megan if she could give Bobby Joe a tour of the plant, do you mind?
Oh, no. That'd be cool.
Then I can ask her all my questions.
No, I think, you know what, let me tell you something.
Millions of
You're
questions.
in for an eye opener. A lot of people don't realize how much of this facilities downstairs, underground.
Really?
Yeah, so you can, definitely. Then what I would say, Rick, give her a tour of Spruce Street, the pump station.
Yeah, we can do that.
I wanna go on
Oh, I
It's a
wanna
little
know
hole
that.
you get down the
Yeah.
top.
Oh, maybe I don't.
We'll look from the top.
Maybe not.
So you can look from the surface though.
Oh, all right, then I'm in.
Okay, with that said, Bobby, I'm gonna give you first shot. Any questions?
I have a bunch, but I'm gonna save them for Rick and for Megan for now, and then
Oh my
maybe
God.
I'll understand all of this a little bit better.
No, and like I said, I wanna thank you for coming on board.
Thank you.
Ask anything you want. Robin knows how to get a hold of me. I'm usually in and out, but please feel free.
Everyone's
That-
very patient explaining things to
Yeah.
me because I come up with a lot of awful long questions.
Oh, good, perfect.
With that, is there any public comment from Jack, Mary?
Yes, from me.
None? Clerk, person? Go.
Well, I'm on a schedule, I gotta leave here by 3:45, my dog will be
My
mad.
guess is baseball game.
No, that was last night, and a birthday party to boot.
Okay,
Um,
so,
Is this for me, or is that just, I need that by
this is, okay,
electronically?
this is, I give you, that's a, the
That's
letter I
just a
sent
permit
to.
letter, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just, I had an extra copy of how we're purchasing the generator. You don't want that, you can throw it
No,
out.
no, I'll take it
What did you
anyway.
want a copy of?
Would you want
I need a
copy?
copy
sewer.
of,
Oh, you wanted the right,
yeah,
yes.
the
project.
This?
Weston and Sampson, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I want it electronically so I can look at it electronically. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, all right,
Yeah.
I can send that out.
Because that's the French Stream corridor, the unnamed stream that I know that comes, that will interfere with Linden
Well, then
Street, so on and
I'd
so
like to
forth.
pick your brain, because my concern would be
Yeah.
the Plain Street line.
Yeah, and that's the line, because French Stream parallels some of that, and
A lot of that
it's
was-
right at North
Well, what
Ave.
was the one that began with a swamp, old swamp, a swampy?
Old Swamp River?
Yeah,
Oh,
that-
yeah, that flow is totally different.
But that's the one that was filled in.
Well, if it was filled in, it still flows towards Weymouth, it flows north,
Okay.
not south. But it's not filled in, it's over the hill from my house, it's not filled in. It exists.
Okay.
So that's that one. Then the on the I&I, what EPA, they want you to be stable, and
Well,
there
that
was
was
an
in it.
issue, there's an issue of if you allow a developer, but the I&I
No,
comes
no, but the only
afterwards.
thing I'm gonna release is the memo, that, my minutes that I took from my meeting with, and I'll give you that. With, let me make everything public record
Well,
first, and I'll get
yeah,
to it.
the issue with I&I that usually happens is a developer comes in, they throw money at the sewer department to do I&I, and the money goes elsewhere.
No, that's not happening,
Okay.
but I will get you a copy of
But
that.
then there's the issue of the I&I has to be done, but they have to start building before the I&I gets done. But you can hold up, if they don't give you the money and the I&I is not done, there's a mechanism that you can say, okay, you can't get your occupancy permit because we have these issues with you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Or another way of doing that.
I would definitely share that with me, because I will put
Yeah.
that in the moratorium.
Discussion.
Yeah, that way you hold their feet to the fire and but your feet have to do the I&I, period.
No, I
It
know,
just has
that's
to
the whole
happen.
goal.
Yeah.
All right, Jack, you.
All set.
With that, I'll take a motion and the meeting.
Motion.
He's awake. Okay, I have a motion and a second.
Second,
Second. All in favor, Mr. Rossi? Ms. Valley?
yes.
Ms. Hutchinson, yes.